I know you're here, Alex.
So there we go.
All right.
Great.
God, we shouldn't let this much time pass between talking to each other, Alex.
It was actually it was like
a year ago,
40% down and 80% up when we met the last time.
When was that?
It was February 2020.
Okay, too long.
Too
so
long.
You know, yeah, a year. All right. So Alex, welcome back. And do you know how to share here on Zoom? It's that green box. And you have a lot of fans following in here to see what you have to say. See the green drop box?
Yep.
Says share. So how have you been handling the last year with COVID and markets and bubbles? You know, bubbles everywhere, bull markets everywhere. How's this year been for you over there in Europe?
In terms of COVID, pretty well, because I stayed without an infection.
You stayed home?
No, actually not. Since I work in a system relevant business, banking business, I didn't have much home office, and in those volatile times, yeah, you have to be on the edge.
Okay. All right. So DAX is your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I'm still having my romantic relationship with DAX, and it's still quite good.
Yeah. So let me ask you, your romantic relationship, does DAX ever, you know, hurt your feelings, or, you know, do you ever feel rejected by your girlfriend that's a chart? Does your chart ever talk back to you?
My chart doesn't necessarily talk back to me, but my chart tells some lies from time to time. Like in real life.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So where's the truth in DAX? Do you think that I see all your speed lines and timelines like February and March all the way on that red line? Yep. So for your Gann work,
yep.
Are we in an important window? We've gotten a little correction in S&Ps, and some cycle guys are looking for highs. They were talking about last week. Some are talking about later this week. What's your Gann work telling you?
What actually I can tell you from Gann's standpoint is that looking on the long term, Gann likes anniversaries, and we are pretty much in that 1 year anniversary since
COVID.
We had that COVID dive in the markets.
Right.
Yeah. So from speaking of the time window, we would be absolutely in that time window. The only thing is, market doesn't care about fundamentals. If it starts to dive, then probably because of a quick shift in the sentiment. So rather a psychological thing.
Okay, so it looks like some type of double top. Do you believe in it enough to assume risk on the short side, or are you going to wait for some type of rebound? Or looks like we have a couple little two drives. It's similar to the S&P intraday. What is this? 5-minute chart?
That's a 5-minute intraday chart.
Okay.
I'm actually using only the 5 minutes and the 1 day for the longer term timing, which actually is essential for the bigger time cycles, which I'm using. But on the intraday, we still have that all-time high here from last week.
Right.
Yeah, as soon as DAX doesn't close above 14,100 or above that intraday high, there is still a good chance that we go lower.
Okay. Could we, I see you're looking at about what, potentially down towards 13,300. Is that the level down there at the bottom of your chart? You have a lot of lines intersecting down there in the lower right-hand corner. February 21st.
I give you a better one. I give you a better one.
Okay, is that the dailies coming up? Okay.
So.
Okay.
So that red Gann angle sequence is actually the thing I'm looking for, respectively the model which has been calculated. In terms of timing, I think the end of March or the beginning of April is essential for some kind of low point.
Okay, late March, early April, potential low, so we could, the bias might be down until late March, early April. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And it
go ahead.
It can take us for sure down below that January low. But I'm actually looking going like 12.5, 1300.
Okay, 12.5 to 13,000.
Yeah, 13,000, correct.
Okay, because you said 100.
Yeah.
That would be a big break.
Correct.
All right.
My mistake, sorry.
That's okay, buddy. All right, so and this is are you just still trading the DAX? And even though you just trade the DAX, does anything that's happening in the currency market, for example, strong euro, weak euro, play a role in what's happening with the DAX?
Absolutely, yes. In the last couple of months, we saw that inverse relationship. Strong euro supports some selling on the DAX and vice versa. But I neglect those Forex things in general.
Okay.
It's different in my job because when I'm buying shares, when I'm buying US shares for the fund, I have to hedge the currency. So it's a little bit different.
Okay, it's a hedge, right? Okay. So is it your own fund that you have now, Alex, or you went to work for a bank?
No, I'm working for a bank in the asset management. And
okay. Is this new for you since we talked a year ago?
No, actually not.
Okay. All right. So what is new for you in the last year that we need to catch up on?
What is new for me? Actually, what pretty much changed is the speed and the velocity of the markets.
Faster? More velocity?
Sure. Faster. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. What do you make out?
We saw a drop in February, March last year, which we didn't see by that time in terms of price and time.
Okay, so that the COVID crash from last year, the Gann stuff didn't reveal it ahead of time, so it was a surprise.
I wasn't surprised, no.
Okay.
I was surprised actually of the amount of the velocity, but I wasn't surprised that it happened here, because if you remember January 2020, we had fresh all-time highs in the markets, and there was some Middle East crisis brewing, etc., etc. And ultimately it was this virus. I remember when I said to you, don't underestimate that virus for the markets. We talked about that last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you were
It was
certainly right.
Quick, dirty, and heavy. That downwash. But
Yeah.
well, then.
So you know what surprised me? The crash didn't surprise me. The recovery to new highs is
correct.
what surprised me.
Absolutely,
how about you?
yes.
I mean, I was trying to, made some attempts at selling retracements off that break. I did see the bottom at 2,300 in the S&Ps, but I thought at the most, and people thought I was being aggressive, was, we could get back to 31. And I never dreamed that a year later we'd be talking about a 3,900 handle in S&Ps.
Yeah.
And what about, are there things going on in Europe that are similar to what's happening here in the US, like SPACs, new instruments and, social networks going in and attempting to raid and create short squeezes, any of that type of wild action, or, marijuana stocks going from $5 to 80 in a month? I'm talking about Tilray, and we have this big boom in crypto. I know you've been doing this for a while. Have you ever seen more bull markets in all asset classes in your career, that almost everything's a bull market except treasury bonds?
I'm always saying I'm doing that long. Must be like 17 or 18 years by now. I have seen everything, but I'm wrong. Wait, in 3 weeks, another black swan appears, which we didn't see by then. But coming back to your question, I think you cannot compare the European financial markets to US financial markets. Speaking of Bitcoin or that GameStop Robinhood thing.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in
no,
in European bourses at all, huh?
No. I think Europe is pretty much happy with those overregulated financial markets, and the Europeans keep drinking beer and
Maybe that's where we're headed. We do have a new regime. I guess you could call it a regime or an administration.
Yep.
New SEC chairman. So it is possible that maybe we're going to go to more of a European model to calm things down. You like the Wild Wild West in the US. Is that correct?
Actually, I like both models.
Okay. Which is easier to trade? Neither. Which one's harder to trade? Both.
No, you're right. Neither, because why? Because you do not trade fundamentals anymore.
Yeah.
I learned it the other way. You trade sentiment, you trade psychological momentum things. You can't even trade like some catastrophes anymore.
Huh.
Bad news or good news?
You can't, or you can?
You cannot.
Where, in Europe?
Everywhere.
Oh, you mean that those
Europe or USA? I mean, this COVID situation is in fact getting worse since the beginning 1 year ago. And does the market care?
They take any relief from higher highs of cases
Yeah,
and spread as being bullish because, now in the US we're at what used to be unheard of, 50,000 cases a day,
yeah.
down from 250.
And
And what's happening over there? What are you hearing about variants over there? Is the UK variant spreading across Europe?
it's
We're
spreading
starting.
quite well. Even in Austria, um, it's spreading quite well here. But we also have some troubles with that South African variant.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, well,
Are you going? Let me ask you this. I think you've probably looked into it. Are you going to accept the vaccine and take it when it's available to you?
based on the data which is available by now, I won't accept it in this stage.
Okay.
Because probably you remember I have that medical background from my job, and it's not secure for me.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks. I already got one dose. So let's go to your example of a solar year.
Yeah, because my audience probably expects talking about my Gann things.
Yeah.
Like I told at the beginning, solar year, Gann defined the trading year not to start with January 1st, but with the March equinox or solstice
Okay.
on March 21st. So
I see.
this pretty much comes in line with.
And that was a low, wasn't it? That was a low.
It was a low. Actually, it was a low. You're right. So
okay.
that's what I'm saying. Actually, it's coming in pretty much in line with that big turning point we had 1 year ago. So that's another reason why the whole situation here in the market is getting interesting. So
okay. So the anniversary date this March is as well, the spring
correct.
equinox.
Yeah.
Equinox, March 21st, because you have April Fool's Day down there, April 1st.
Correct.
So close enough, right?
Yeah, close
for
enough.
government work.
Yeah.
Okay, so the anniversary of a low can invert at the end of a solar year. Am I interpreting it correctly? Or could it be a low, or we could sell off into that level?
Let's be general and say we're talking about the turning point.
Okay.
A major turning point.
Okay, and we don't know which way. We don't know which way until we approach that date.
Correct.
Okay. Anything else you want to share with us today, Alex?
Oh, there are so many things I want to share, but just the principles. Why Gann? Why I do Gann? Because I was looking for some kind of scientific approach to the stock market. I'm not trading the stock market because the stock market is here, or I'm not trading a share because the stock is here. For me, it's something where you can also apply some kind of natural sciences, and those three big aspects on Gann trading, like the mathematical aspect, the geometrical aspect, and also the astronomical aspect for doing the timing, actually, because the universe or the alignment of planets, etc., in fact, is the best or the most accurate timing gadget we have. So
wasn't there a big, unusual, rare planetary alignment last Thursday? I think Norm Linsky was talking about it, about having 6 planets in, I think, Aquarius last Thursday. Is it something you were aware of, that planetary alignment?
I heard something about it, but I have, some special constellations with which I use, and I'm not freaking out when there is. I mean, there is every day there is some kind of an alignment. Yeah.
Okay.
But I did research on it, and I found some, let's say, not insignificant alignments, which I personally use for a timing thing.
Okay, and are they planetary oppositions? I know Gann was big on oppositions.
Yeah, correct, and that's also a point why the period from March 21 to April 1st, because not only the end or the beginning of the solar year is supported by this, but also some certain planetary alignment constellation to reset this cycle.
Do you know what people are talking about, Alex, when they, there's all these videos out and people talk about the Great Reset? Could you explain it to me and my viewers, if you know what their expectations are for a Great Reset? Do you know what I'm talking about? No is a fine answer, but yes, you do.
I heard of the term. This term is not so common here in Europe, but I mean, it's not illogical if you look at all the central banks' money in the last decade since the so-called financial crisis after 2008, after the Lehman crash. I mean, they got more creative every year when doing some QEs or PPEs or what the hell. I mean, personally, the only thing which actually could help the financial system is probably that Great Reset.
And what is the Great Reset? A move on a different reserve currency, is that part of it? Is it a jubilee in debt, forgiveness of debt? Is it defaults? What is it?
Mostly, I'm thinking of debt.
Okay.
Because
so
no
forgiveness,
one can pay this back.
No, I could.
Oh,
if you give me 1,000 years. But yeah, so then we're talking about all the debt and everything that's increasing, the magnitude of debt and percentage of debt to GDP, that it's going to be some, Scott, if it's debt, it's also currency, don't you think?
Yeah, probably yes.
Okay. Do you think the dollar survives? And let me just ask you one thing. There is a lot of dollar bearishness. Not many people, besides people that talk about that milkshake theory, which is bullish the dollar, as dollars are in demand. But I'd say most of the investment community, it's hard to come up with a scenario that would be bullish dollar, unless what we started to see in rates is just the beginning. Rates have tripled on the 10-year. Any view on what's happening on interest rates, Alex?
At some point, they have to rise again. But as you said, that dollar bearishness, what happens when everybody calls or gives the dollar up and calls that dollar bearishness. Yeah.
Well, people have been talking about the demise of the dollar since the 1970s, after it came off Bretton Woods.
And this will stay like this, I tell you. Somehow the dollar will survive. I'm not sure with the euro. I'm not sure the euro will survive, at least not in this configuration, because we have 20 plus economies in the eurozone, and every economy is in a different shape. You
You know,
cannot
I've
compare.
interviewed a guy who thinks that the next financial crisis is going to come out of Italy with some banking problem out of Italy in this spring. Are you seeing anything in that particular country or financial system? I know that, you know, you hardly get any yield on their bonds, and, you know, they don't exactly have a high credit rating. Is there anything that you see happening in Europe that could trigger a confidence crisis in the euro coming up this spring?
Let's say it definitely won't be Italy because they have Supermarine now. So Draghi will save Italy. No, I'm joking. It will come from the banking system because when you look, not necessarily Italy alone, but retail banking in the last year, while the COVID crisis, all those private loans which are out now, the people didn't have to pay them back for 1 year. But still, everything is closed here. There is not really any change. So banks are losing money day by day.
Yeah. Well,
and it
Alex,
starts right on Main Street. It's not starting on Wall Street. It's starting here on Main Street. That's the problem.
Okay, and you want to just give us what this last chart, again, it's the example of the solar year.
No, that's pretty much that ultra long term Gann projection of the German DAX, beginning right here at the 2003 low, which I find quite remarkable when you take that geometrical aspect and bring price and time in a relation, in an order, which is shown here by that light blue Gann sequence. Actually, we had that post subprime low in 2009, right on this line, and recovered from here. So
maybe we could get back down to that line again someday. You think that's a possibility? That'd be a pretty big hit.
It actually would be.
We didn't get there in the COVID crash.
It would be healthy for let's call it the reset. But it won't. It wouldn't be healthy if we do that like in 6 months or 8 months.
Better if it's stretched out over years.
Process and
yeah, you don't want to panic, but if it's long and drawn out, rather than have a heart attack, it would be better for it to have cancer and survive it.
I think it's the natural cycle of every economy. You have up phases and down swings. That's pretty natural.
The last year doesn't look natural when compared to the rest of the chart. It looks disorderly, doesn't it? Violent.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what they say that bottoms are made in silence and tops are made with violence. Right. So we have some violent action. I'm so glad that we had a chance to talk, Alex.
Thank you.
Gave us some great time periods to pay attention to, and I'm just going to get you back in the rotation, and I'll DM you a little later to get you back here in May and see how things played out. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So everyone, Alex, do you use your last name when I, put out your videos, or just want to go by Alex?
Alex is fine. Absolutely fine.
Okay, because my associate Steve Volge asked me for last names, but that's okay. So everyone, you could follow Alex on Twitter, and his handle here, I'll post it in chat. As Stelio said, he recently started following Alex, and he enjoys them. So here's Alex's Twitter handle. Okay. Your DS says you're a ledge, which I means don't jump off it. No, I think he means legend, not ledge. Because if you're on a ledge, you could fall. So thank you again. Thank you again, my trading warrior brother, for hanging out with us.
For having me. Thank you.
All right. All right, buddy. So that's a wrap, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your trading day. I don't know if Mark Newton's going to be right. S&P is under some pretty good pressure. If you took the short from yesterday, you have about 30 handles. I'm a big believer in partial profits. Take half and pull your stop down so you can't lose money. And that's a wrap. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings, and we'll be back with you tomorrow. And you could join the rest of the team for FAME, ForexAnalytix members experience, I believe, in about 15 minutes. So you'll get Blake's bias chart and the rest of the team batting the ball around. And for me, that's a wrap. Everyone have a great day. You're very welcome, Mustafa. Chris Smith said that you're thought-provoking, Alex. So keep that romance going with DAX, because people want to know how things are going. And it's snowing in Jerusalem, snowing all over the world. I guess this is the beginning of the new ice age. I posted it there, Dolce. It's right there in chat. Okay, Steve, we're done. I think you could end it. I don't know if I...
See the rest of you in 10 minutes.
Oh, solar minimum. Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, Steve, shave. Look at your picture. Will you shave your picture? All right, buddy.
Ciao, ciao.